Thursday, December the 28th, 2017, to you. On March the 18th, 2018, Russia will hold its presidential election. The candidates will be Pavel Grudinin, Communist Party, Mr. Vladimir Zhirinovsky, Liberal Democratic Party, and President Mr. Vladimir Putin, who will seek re-election for a second consecutive term. For a start, I have no doubts that he will win the election. Like Stalin said, the people who cast the votes decide nothing. The people who count the votes decide everything. And guess who controls the latter? On the other hand, Mr. Putin is extremely popular among Russians. He brought Mother Russia's glory back. As a matter of fact, Mr. Putin can only be understood as the leader of the world's largest country. Anyway, Mr. Putin will win the election. Of course, the Kremlin is keen to have a legitimate election. That is why the government is encouraging fringe candidates to participate. These candidates include Mrs. Ksenia Sobchak, a celebrity TV host and socialite, or singer Mrs. Yekaterina Gordon. But again, they will be just beautiful sparrings for President Putin. That said, I would like to draw your attention on a potential candidate who will not participate, Mr. Alexei Navalny. The Central Election Commission ruled on Monday the 25th, Christmas again, that Mr. Navalny would be barred from running, citing his earlier conviction and embezzlement. Mr. Navalny had handed a 5-year suspended sentence in 2013 as part of the case from Kirovlysk Timber Company. Mr. Navalny was also convicted for fraud and money laundering of the Yves Rocher Vostok company a year later. Russians are not allowed to run for 10 years being convicted for serious crimes. However, Mr. Navalny claims that legal provision does not apply to suspended sentences. He also called a nationwide protest this January the 28th to back an electoral boycott. In turn, the Kremlin said that Mr. Navalny's move would be carefully studied. We are talking about Russia, and here it is where mystery begins. First, a YouTube video in which Mr. Navalny asks his supporters to launch the aforementioned protest was temporarily blocked. It was later restored, but it no longer appears in YouTube's trending videos, meaning fewer people will see it. How could it happen? Is it that the YouTube was attacked by Kremlin's cyber intelligence, or is it that YouTube gave in to pressures from the Russian government? Even more interestingly, can an event like this one happen elsewhere? Secondly, why is Mr. Putin so concerned about an eventual electoral boycott? His agents could cast multiple ballots inside the boxes, or simply falsify data on turnout. Yes, that would be deceitful, but bloodless anyway. I believe that beyond Mr. Putin's worries for apathy, it is his desire to be loved by the Russian people, not simply obeyed, but loved as well. Too often, strong leaders like to be viewed as a father by citizens and a husband by the nations. By the way, was not Russia which legalized minor domestic violence? The world is still on.